What's up, everyone? Welcome back to CNC Auto Works. I'm super excited for today's video. I've been waiting a long time for this moment, for this day. I finally got my drop I-beams. I had these things on Summit, or on order from Summit for over a year. And Summit dropped the ball, discontinued them, I don't know, and didn't never tell me. Finally called DJM, said, hey, send me some drop I-beam. That's all I need to finish my suspension. 2 weeks later, they showed up. So now it's finally time to get these things thrown on here. I'm gonna start, get this thing jacked up, and get it supported with some jack stands. I think I'm gonna go ahead and just do one side at a time. I'm gonna get the wheel off, get the caliper off, get the spindle off, and then we'll show you what it takes to get a set of these drop I-beams on these. Went ahead and unboxed my I-beams. They're a lot heavier than what I thought they were. Looking at all the pictures, I thought they were some rinky-dink things, but now I'm not so scared to run them. They do look a little heavier than what I was thinking. Over here, we've gone ahead and pulled the wheel. On this particular model, you got these little pins. I'm gonna knock these pins out. The calipers don't even bolt on, they're just pinned in. Now I'm gonna tie my caliper up so I don't have to take my brake line loose. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get my rotors off, or not my rotors off, but my spindles off, so we can start pulling the I-beams out of here. Now that I've got the caliper off and thrown up there out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling the spindle off. You got a castle nut here with a Carter key in it. Pull that Carter key out. And you're gonna wanna break that nut loose, take it off. And then you got a bolt up here where your alignment bushing is. You want to take that bolt out and to get this spindle off.
Oh, yay.
I got the spindle off. Ford made it kind of nice. Seems like everything under here is pretty much 1.8 inches. The bottom spindle nut, the ball joint nut was 1.8 inches. This nut up here, I haven't taken it off, but it's 1.8 inches. I'm not sure if you got to take the radius arm off, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull them anyways because I got a new set of bushings and they're 1.8 inches too. What I'm gonna do next is go ahead and pull the sway bar bolts out. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take this spring nut off, pull that bolt that goes all the way through the I-beam. And then I'm gonna pull the inner bolt that's just underneath the oil pan on the cross member. It's kind of dark in there, I don't know if you can see it, but I'm gonna pull all that and the I-beam should just fall right out. I've actually got the frame supported back here in the back, and I'm gonna let all the pressure off the coil spring before we start pulling this nut loose, just so nothing will come out of there flying and hit you in the face. Well, got her all unbolted. Super easy, super quick. About to knock it out. There she is. You get these I-beams are 2 different lengths. So I believe the short one goes on the passenger side, long one goes on the driver's side. I'm gonna clean some of this stuff up, maybe shoot some rattle can black on it, my spring and the radius arm since I wound up taking it out. And we'll go back together with this thing. Got the new I-beam installed, no problem. Looks real good. It's kind of dark, I know you can't see too much, but everything went smooth. I really thought it was gonna be a bigger pain. Just throw your spindle back on, tighten it, get your Carter key back in there, and then once I get both sides done, I'll line out the alignment. Well, got this side all buttoned back up. Looks good, everything went good. Went ahead and left my alignment bushing loose right here on top. Now you can't really see that. It's pretty dark up in here, but we're gonna go ahead and get the other side done, and then we're gonna figure out our sway bar situation, and then we're gonna get the front end rail on. Oh, we got the passenger side on. Got the driver's side on, all buttoned up. Now what we're gonna figure out is the sway bar. And after we figure out what the sway bar is gonna take to get back on here, we'll do the alignment. You can see there we had to swap and reverse the end links. This is actually the passenger side that we moved to the driver's side. And then on the front, we wound up having to swap this plate around. All that stuff unbolts, you just flip it around and spin it. And then bolt the torsion bar back to the front of it instead of to the back of it. The passenger side's got a little more clearance than the driver's side. I think the spring's sitting a little forward on this side, but I'm pretty certain it's never gonna hit. May loosen that back off just to get me a little more clearance. There she is, sitting back on the ground. Looks pretty good. Still gotta do the back, but turned out all right. Still gotta get that alignment. Probably line her hand just a little bit. Typical truck probably be a little bit lower than this. Pulling all the EFI stuff off and going to aluminum heads, we lightened the front end up. We could tell from the way the stance was before. After we had done all that, it kind of lightened the front, and the front was just a tad bit higher than the back because I had it set in level. So if you still all EFI cast iron heads, you'd probably be a good ½ inch lower than this. I got a set of 2-inch drop springs, but I think that'd be too much. I would like to go a little bit more, but I'll get that alignment set and we'll see what it's looking like after we get the back drop. Now that I've got the front all done and sitting right, or as right as it's gonna get for now, I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the back. Now on the back, if you've ever dropped anything or a truck, you know you can either do hangers and shackles. There's your hanger in the front. Got your shackle up here in the back. Or you can do a flip kit. I've already got 2-inch hangers on, 2-inch hangers on here. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my stock hangers back on. And I'm gonna put a flip kit so I can get a 6-inch drop. Flip kit for this thing ran 150 bucks. Or DJM actually sells a little U for 80. Well, I'm kind of cheap, so I'm not really taking that route. So here's the setup I'm gonna be using. I'm just gonna use some perches to flip it. I've got these plates that I made for my OBS Chevy that I took off when I did my cow tracks. I got my stock hangers that I'm gonna put back on. And then I got my C-notch. I got this C-notch a long time ago. I used to have a 4-link on this thing. I'm probably not gonna put the C-notch today, just because when I had my 4-link on here, I never had an issue with it hitting the frame. I'll wait till I paint it and I have the bed off to go ahead and install the C-notch. But right now I'm gonna go ahead and hit everything with a little panther piss. I'm gonna pull my U-bolts loose. I'm gonna go ahead and just remove the leaf spring, just because I gotta change those hangers anyways. And then I'm just gonna jack up the axle and move the leaf to the bottom. I'm gonna get all that done and then show you what I got. You can see here I've got the leaf spring out. The way I'm going to flip this is I got new leaf spring perches. Picked these up off of eBay for 20 bucks. When the axle's on the bottom of the leaf spring, you actually use the center hole to make the axle in the center of the fender well. But when you flip the axle to on top of the leaf spring, you actually got to use the most forward hole to recenter the axle in the fender well. I went ahead and I took my drop shackles off, put my stock one back on. This should give me about a 5 or 6 inch drop doing this. And you can go ahead and still reuse all your stock hardware. You can even reuse this plate, but you got to drill a hole right here. And I don't feel like drilling, so I've got them other plates off my OBS. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this thing back together and show you what we got. And this is what you wind up with. Flipped it, used the stock U-bolt. Still got plenty down here. Well guys, look like I lied. I moved them spring perches to that forward hole. And you can tell that my rear end's not centered in the wheel well. So, good thing I didn't weld anything. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it back apart and move it to the center hole and see if that centers this back in the wheel well. Yeah, got everything buttoned back up. Got it back to rolling. I could tell in the shop that I hated the stance right away. I pretty much knew that that flip kit was gonna be too low in the back. And I was right. I don't do that squat truck stuff. That's not in my DNA. I got two options. I can either put a lift shackle on the back to gain me 2 inches back there, which I really kind of like how low it is in the back. Or I've got some 2-inch coil springs that I can put on the front. Some drop coils that would probably make it back level. But I think that would be too low in the front. Where I live, the potholes and the dips and the streets and the roads, I'd be scraping all kinds of things out from underneath that truck. The headers, the radius arms, there's no telling what would get scraped out. I didn't put the C-notches in just yet because when I had the 4-link on there, I didn't have to. And now I'm gonna have to for sure. Even if I raise it back 2 inches, I'm gonna have to. Because right now it's sitting on the bump stops. But be sure to stay tuned to see what I figure out on this deal. If I do lift the back, I'm gonna have to order the lift shackles. Which I couldn't find any lift shackles. I'm just gonna order some shackles for a 04 to 08 Dodge Ram. They're kind of ass backwards from Chevrolet and Dodge. The way you lower them, the way the shackles are built, it'll actually lift this. But thank everybody for watching. Until next time, we'll catch you guys later.